Welcome back to DIY with KB. If you're new here, my name is Kiva and I teach people how to achieve the luxe look for less. Today I'm giving you a much anticipated updated living room and dining room tour, and I'm showing you exactly how I achieve the luxe look for less in my own home. Before we get into today's video, please remember to subscribe, like this video, and check me out on Instagram. And don't worry, I'm leaving links to absolutely everything I can find down below. Let's get started. So we've had these forever, and these are like the pieces that everyone loves online. These are our Skatteby pieces. We actually only have one up right now. This was from Value City Furniture, and it was only $299, and we got 20% off because we took it off the floor. They still do sell Skatteby, but Value City Furniture is like an East Coast sort of thing from my understanding. So you can only get it in certain places, but you can buy Skatteby from our house and directly from him. His work is incredible. And this piece kind of just like stands for itself right here, which I really love. I like, well, not just I, my wife and I really like large oversized pieces that don't require a lot of styling because we want everything to be really minimal, but also intentional. And I think that this piece really accomplishes that. So something that we did that was a little bit non-traditional is we made every single thing in our home really comfortable. So while our design style is really black and white and like edgy, we still wanted to feel like we could sit in our home. So of course we have these plush dining chairs all the way around our table. We have 6 of them. 4 of them are armless, and then 2 of them have arms on them. And they're actually really incredible, not because they are super comfortable, but I get them dirty literally all the time because I'm always like thinking and like kicking the chairs, and the stuff comes right out, and you don't have to worry about like the fabric shrinking or anything like that. Now, unfortunately, these ones are out of stock. They've been discontinued, but I found some on Wayfair that are kind of dupes for these. They're a little bit more formal, but I'll be sure to link them down below in case you want to achieve this lush or plush look in your own home. Now, we decided to pair these plush chairs with this dining table from Value City Furniture. It is the Banks dining table, and we got it because I believe it was only like $300 or $400. And the reason we got that is because my name is DIY with KB, you guys. I'm always DIYing something. I'm always making art, and I get stuff all over the table. So as you know, we bought a restoration hardware table at first, but then I was just kind of like, I'm gonna ruin it, and that is not worth a $2,000 investment for us. So we saved our money. And this table has held up really well. There are like a few chips in it, but that's literally because I like dropped like a saw on it. So it's not the table's fault, it's my fault. I just go really hard on our furniture, but I'm still really happy with it. We eat here every day. It was actually really nice getting a table because we actually sit down for our meals instead of like hover around the island and stuff like that, which I think is really nice because we actually like get rid of our screens-ish and like talk to one another, which I love. First ever like living room tour that like no one ever saw because I wasn't a YouTuber yet. I had this massive trough on our dining table and I loved it, but it was too big because it was like this high, so you could never see what was inside of it. And that was a good find because it was only $90 at Homegoods, but I found this one at our house and it is absolutely incredible. All of them are one of a kind, so they have lots of different troughs, but they all look a little bit different. Some of them have like curves in them, but it's just really nice and jagged, and I just filled it up with moss. You could fill it up with anything. You could fill it with candles, you could fill it up with fruit, you could make it like kind of like a cornucopia sort of situation if that's kind of what resonates for you. But it's just like a really nice centerpiece for us, and we really like it because it's narrow enough that we can still eat around it and like live while still have some styling. That's kind of how I like to design our home because I'm always doing something. I am a busybody. I do not sit. So I want my home to look nice while I can still use it, and this really works for me. As you'll see, all of our styling is really minimal because I'm always doing projects, and having lots of clutter around just isn't practical for us, especially with like the dog who like will run into anything and knock it over. So everything has to be really sturdy and intentional. Intentional is the word of the day. It is the word of my YouTube channel, but it's a good word. I made a decision in the home that I think is a little bit atypical. So as you can see, our dining chairs exactly match our sofas. I wanted everything to be super light. As you can see, we have these really beautiful windows and they are amazing, and we get a lot of light, but we also live in Pittsburgh and it rains like 80% of the time, right? So it actually gets really dark and gloomy in here. And because our ceilings are so tall, it's like just kind of like blah, right? So I wanted furniture that would lighten it up and that was like super soft. Like, look at this. I'm sitting on a pillow no matter where I sit in my house, and that's just kind of what I wanted. Now, some designers might say, let's add more dimension, let's make it more sophisticated. It's my house, so I'm gonna do whatever it is I want. The dog likes it, my wife likes it, I like it, and that's really all that matters to me. And I hope that that's what your takeaway is from this. I love interior design, I love interior design advice, but your home should reflect you, and that's what ours does. Now, we also have this sideboard here that we created. I made this art myself. I took a canvas that we used to like paint the kitchen or something like that. I painted over it and then I put it in this frame that I got from like a secondhand store. And I just put it up on the wall. I made it using modeling paste and it was really simple and fun. And then this sideboard is actually where like all of like our dishes are and stuff like that. And what I do with the sideboard is I actually restyle it every single week. Depending upon like the type of clients I have. So I have virtual design sessions and I work with different clients. So if I'm working with someone who is a little bit more modern, maybe I'll do something really simple and symmetrical like this. If I'm working with someone who's a little bit like more modern farmhouse, I'll go in with like my wooden chains and maybe something else. If I'm working with someone who is bohemian, maybe I'll bring in some pompous and some really interesting shaped vessels. I like to relay that I can do a lot of different styles, and this is where I actually sit for my meetings just because this is where the best lighting is. So I kind of use this to kind of like tell a story for my clients because I think it's always really important to relay to people that you can achieve their design style even if it's not your design style. So that's like a little trick I do. I don't know if anyone ever notices, but it's very intentional and I love to do that for my clients. And I made this sideboard. I have a whole video on it. I'll link it down below. But what I did is I got two, I think, base cabinets, right, honey? Two base cabinets from Lowe's. I nailed them together and I stained them black and I put IKEA handles on them. And it was actually really funny. Like when I was on the Tamron Hall show, they actually put a clip of me putting this together. And it's literally just like me screaming profanities at myself, but like with the sound muted because I was so frustrated. So I thought it was really funny that that's what they included. But I got a sideboard that I wanted like custom, right? Because I think altogether it was like $100 and all the sideboards I was looking at were so expensive. I have, you know, expensive tastes. You know, I'm not gonna hide that from you guys. So this was a way for me to get it on a budget. And I've had these sofas now for 2 years, I believe, something to that effect. And I love them. Our dog has vomited on them. We've spilled wine on them. I've spilled moss and dirt on them and all of it has come out. I just use my Bissell. I have a pill shaver and then I just throw them in the laundry. And that seems to really work. Now, one of the main modifications we've made is that I have opened myself up to throw pillows. So I have these black velvet throw pillows. The insert, let's just show you. The insert, of course, is the faja drawer from IKEA. And you can just see it is a goose fill. So if you don't like goose fill, I totally understand that. You can get a down alternative. But it's just really nice and fluffy, and I like that because it's nice to sit on. Again, I want my whole house to be comfortable. I know you guys think that my house like isn't comfortable, but like every single place you can just plop down, right? And I love that because after a long day, you just kind of just want to sit, right? And you don't want to have to sit on the floor. So these are really nice and comfortable. The dog is also a huge fan. So I went with these black velvet pillow covers from Amazon. I think it's like 2 for like $20 or something to that effect. And of course, I always size down, but what I actually did for these ones is I only sized down one size instead of 2. So instead of getting 26 by 26, I think I got 24 by 24, but normally I get a 26 by 26 pillow insert and then a 22 by 22 pillow. Wait, what? 22 by 22 pillowcase. I got too excited and confused. And then I get the overstuffed look. So you stay here and I'll show you what that means. So I have this pillow, right? And you can see this one is really stuffed here. So this is a way smaller pillow cover for the pillow insert. And it just is that like really stuck look that I really like. Sometimes you don't want your pillows to be like slouchy, right? Because if you lay on them, then they're ruined. Your design is ruined. This way, it's ever present. And these are the Aina beige or tan pillow covers from IKEA. As we get over to my gallery wall, you'll see that beige is a color that I really enjoy. I really like the natural, so this was a way to introduce it on my sofas. And again, break up the colors. And again, so my sofas, I'm pretty sure they're just like polyester. I'm not gonna pretend that they're like linen or something. So we have the polyester fabric, but then we also have the linen pillow cover and then the velvet pillow color. So there are a lot of different textures going on, again, to add something different, to add some dimension, while still keeping my color palette super duper neutral. And of course, we still have the famous Gilt Mirror from Restoration Hardware here. There's Babe, you can see her. We love the mirror. It's in kind of like a silly place right now, if I'm being completely honest, because you can't actually use it to see yourself really, I guess, unless you stand right here. But there's nowhere else I want to put it right now. So this is, I don't know where it's going to go, but I love it. You know, mirrors like this are beautiful, but they also reflect everything. So sometimes you just don't want to be able to see your reflection. You can't zoom in front of a mirror. You know, you just don't want it to be in a weird place. So this is where it is for right now. But I think it's really nice to contrast everything else we have going over there. Another major modification that we've made is we actually got these task lamps from Amazon. I believe they are $60 or $65 in the gold, and then like $59 or $54 in the black. And I got these because they are adjustable. So let's see if I can actually show you. I've never adjusted them before, if I'm being completely honest. Yes, they can go up high, and they can also, I got it stuck. Whatever, they can also go back down. And I really like them because like the switch is actually right here. You don't have to turn this, and you don't actually have to put this on if you don't want to. So I actually didn't install them on most of them because I don't like the way it looks. And as you push the button, it actually does varying degrees of light. So it can be really bright and also very like muted. So if you want to read or something like that, you can turn it down low and kind of like set the mood. I don't know if you set the mood for reading, but that's what I said. Or you could have it up really bright if you're kind of struggling to get light. I really like them because, of course, gold is one of my accent colors, and it actually matches the mirror super well, I think, in terms of gold. So that is kind of one of the reasons I was hesitant to introduce any more gold, because she is the star of this show, right? I want to match her, but I think that this was great. And what I actually did with one of them is I took out one of the links here. So I was actually able to get that really low task light look that you see at like Restoration Hardware all the time, if that's something that you want. But obviously the upper height is good too. But they are adjustable. I just am, you know, a little silly today. And then this is what it looks like on the underside, which is really nice. There's no bulbs you need to put in or anything like this. It comes ready to go. Let's talk about up here. So this gallery wall is still something that I'm working on actually, which is why I hadn't made this tour yet. But you guys were like, you can't keep making videos here, Kiva, if you're not going to show us what's going on. So I'm working on 2 more pieces to go up there. But what used to be there is actually this big white painting here. This is the painting that I made myself a long time ago. And I love it, but I felt like when it was up there, you couldn't see all the texture that I worked really hard to get. I literally ruined half of our hardwood floors to make this painting, so you better be able to see it. So we moved it down here, and I just like that it's eye level, right? Because you can see all of the texture that we have going on there. You know, everything was really intentional. I actually really thought about this, even though it's abstract art. I feel like sometimes people think that abstract art has no thought behind it, and it did. So I really wanted it to be on display more, and then it took up this entire wall, because before we had the mirror over here with like art flanking it, and it was just too busy for me, if I'm being completely honest. This is busy in like a different way. It's a cohesive busy, and that was just like too many different things for me, and it just wasn't sitting well. So this is what I decided to do. So naturally, I had to find something to go on this wall. And something that you guys don't know about me, or maybe you do, I grew up in a house with like an artist. So our whole house was covered in tile and mosaics. There's paintings everywhere, and I kind of like missed having more art in our home. For me, it wasn't about color, it was just about art. So what I do is I actually go on Etsy.com and I find my artwork. So this piece up here is actually the piece that I kind of modeled the whole gallery wall after. It kind of reminded me a little bit of my Cater Bully pieces, and I wanted to like tie those in because those pieces are like really jarring, and I love that. But I sometimes felt like they were a little bit out of place, so I wanted to tie it in all around the home, and this piece just like really spoke to me. My wife said that it scared her, but like such is life. I don't know, it just really spoke to me. And then I curated everything else around it. Same thing with this piece right here. I don't know, I just really loved it. It's not in the correct orientation or anything like that. I feel like art is one of those things where you can just do what speaks to you, and this is what spoke to me, so I went from there. And I wanted to incorporate the tans, but also have my blacks and whites, because black and white is, you know, my color palette. That's what I enjoy. So I kind of interspersed like, you know, portraits with abstract art and line art, and I kept it really simple. And I very intentionally used different frames because I wanted there to be something different going on. So these are the Skatteby frames from IKEA. They're the most expensive frames. They still, I believe, they are $50 for this large size. Then I have some Ribbas in there. Then I had some Edsbruks in there. And then these are the small Skattebys. And something that I struggled with when making this is that our house has metal studs in it, right? We have a very industrial home. And so the metal studs kind of limit where you could put your artwork. So I'm a very like clean line, like streamlined individual. I am so uptight, I'm so anal. But in making this, I kind of had to like relax a little bit because the studs actually prevented me from putting the art exactly where I wanted it to go, which for me was actually kind of nice because I had to like relinquish control and kind of just like let the art do its thing. Because you know me, I normally have a really structured gallery wall, but it's not. And I think that it still works. And okay, you could say, Kiva, you could just put it in the studs. Why would you drill in the studs for absolutely no reason? That's a silly thing to do, so don't do that. But this is how it turned out, and it just kind of feels like home to me. And that's important, right? Because this is my home. Of course, it's a place like where I work and where my wife works, but it's also, you know, where we have our family. And I wanted to feel like we could sit down on the sofas and feel really nice and cozy because it just didn't really feel that way before to us. And then of course over here, I have the throw pillows like I discussed. I have the beige and I have the black. And then I also have the task lights. This is where I film a lot of the time. This is like my cozy little corner here, which I really enjoy. Before I move on from the gallery wall, I do want to talk to you about how I put a gallery wall together. So what I do is I find all of the artwork that inspires me and I throw it into like a PowerPoint or like a Canva document if you have Canva. And what I do is I grab all the frames that I like and I Photoshop the art into the frames so I can see them all together. Because there's art that like I enjoy independently, but it doesn't work with other stuff. So knowing that your whole thing is going to work together is really important before you start the project. Because then sometimes you feel like, oh, it didn't turn out the way I planned, or it's not going to look good, and you kind of like back away from the project. So this like lets you know 100% that you're going to get it done. And all of these pieces are digital prints, but get original art if you want to do that. But I get all of mine from Etsy. I think the most expensive one was probably like $8 or $9. So it's a really affordable way to get art and art that still speaks to you because there are tons of small businesses and smaller artists that need to get recognized. And, you know, buying their art really supports them. So that's what I like to do. And these side tables are actually from Facebook Marketplace. So these tables used to be in like a few decades ago, and then they were not cool anymore. Now they're cool again. So I guess it's a trend I bought into, but I wanted to add more earthy textures to the home. Again, I don't want more color. I want black, white, and earth tones. So this is a good way to get earth tones. I got 2 of these side tables and a coffee table, which I'll show you in a second, for only $300, I believe, or $350. Was it $250? $250, which was a steal. So we just went and picked them up from this random guy's house in a snowstorm, and we were able to get these. But I think they're just really nice and fun, and I think they really go well color-wise with my sofas, with my artwork, and with my rug. And color is really important to me. Obviously, I'm a designer, right? So I do think about color, even though my color palette is muted. Now, let's talk about the rug. This rug is from Restoration Hardware. We got it from the Restoration Hardware outlet for, I think, $800. And it is a 9x12. So I think for, you know, the price for Restoration Hardware, that's actually really cheap. We just got it because it had a ton of texture, but only one color. Again, that's what I enjoy. I really wanted a black rug for this space, but I couldn't find one that was speaking to me for this room. And I'm actually really happy we have something light colored because it's all different shades of the same color. 50 shades of gray, but it's beige, right? It's a little less exciting, but it's still fun. So that's what we did down there. I actually have a whole storage unit full of rugs, so who knows what it's gonna look like in 2 weeks from now. I keep you guys on your toes. Then we have my coffee table styling here. So, Kiva, you don't have any greenery in your home. That's right, because I only have light for like 5 minutes a day, and I don't want to kill the plants, and I'm not going to buy artificial lights, right? So what I did here, I have no shame. I'll show you. So this is the Studio McGee eucalyptus tree from Target, and then I hacked it up, and I put it in this vase with one of my dog's plush toys that he didn't mind me stealing because I wanted it to lean appropriately. So that is what's in here. I get that really dramatic like overarching piece of greenery without actually having to maintain a piece of greenery. I really like it. It's just like really over the top, and like that is like perfect because I'm so over the top, right? Like this is me, but like in pot plant form, you know, so there we go. And I love it. It's just so fun and dramatic. And I think the green, I'll make babe take a clip from over there so you can see it. I think it just like is a really nice contrast to everything else we have going on in this home. I don't know why I started screaming. The mic is on me, so you moving has no impact on that. What are you gonna do? And I styled this really simply. These are this is a garland that I got from Homegoods that I just spray painted black. And I actually didn't spray paint it really well because it had that age look going on and I wanted to maintain that. This is the Lotus Platter from Our House. I really like Our House. Obviously, I'm doing like a room makeover with them, but I really like their stuff because they have like a lot of hammered gold. So it's not like a gaudy gold where you're like, oh, is that too glam? Is that too like girly cutesy? It's really nice and hammered. It has a lot of texture. This is also the Umbria vase from Our House. I bought it myself. This is not an ad. And it also just has like a ton of texture, and I love that it's oversized. Urns are really in right now. Isn't that kind of weird? Because you're like, ew, that's kind of creepy. But urns are really in right now. I have this urn and I have 2 more urns over there. I don't know, it's gray, which is not a color that I'd normally choose, but I just thought it was fun. And then I just layered it with some coffee table books because I do have a glass coffee table. So you can't really just set something on glass because it kind of gets like lost in the floor. So that's how I broke it up a little bit. But this is really nice minimal coffee table styling that just like works for us because there's nothing that you would really put on a coffee table like this. And because we do have side tables now, if we're eating for some reason or we're drinking, they can just go on those side tables with coasters and then this can stay as it is. So these are my living and dining room updates. The living room has changed a lot. The dining room hasn't changed that much. I think as we're just stuck in the house, we're just trying to live in a way that like makes us feel good. We wanted a little bit more color, a little bit more clutter, but only on the walls, not on the floors. And I think we're really happy with it. My design is still modern and minimal, but I'm just finding like a color palette that works for me and makes me feel at home because it's not just about having like a perfectly curated house. It's about feeling comfortable in the space and like you're safe in the space. And I think that's how Babe and the dog Wiener and I are all feeling, which I think is incredible. I will link everything that I can about our home down below. And if you have questions about anything, let me know. Again, 116-inch restoration hardware gilt mirror. That is my most asked question. These are the plush sofas from Value City Furniture. They do not sell the full sofa anymore, but they do sell the 2 modular pieces, which trust me are easier to get in the house, and you will thank me for that. All of the frames up here are from IKEA, the task lights are from Amazon, and all of the artwork is from Etsy.com, but I will be sure to link everything down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Please let me know down below what modifications you really enjoy. I love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, have a beautiful day.